About 5:15 in the morning on Monday. I think it's the 13th or 14th of December. And these are the boats that ply the Irrawaddy River from Pagoda to Mandalay. And this will be my boat. It's an express boat. It's apparently the better of the several express boats. Where you can sit if you want to catch the air. I guess that's probably not a deck, although there is one in the back here, so let's explore. Big toilets are back here. So what you do is you jump on this boat and you quickly garner the best recliner chair position you can, and then it's a free-for-all for what's up above. But as you can see, there is an upper deck, by golly. And you can have the luxury of one of these recliners, and you can bake in the sun up here. Huh. There's a star. Oh, there's several stars. I haven't seen them for several days. There's a haze in Myanmar that I suspect comes from, perhaps naturally, but my guess more likely it's wood-burning fires. You see them all times of day in all places. Just noticed looking up into the captain's deck, whatever they call that again, and it looks like they've got a little garden up there, probably a shrine too, but almost a little garden. He was rearranging plants up there. Oh, two boats are taking off. We'll probably pass it. I think we're faster. It was interesting. It almost looked like the way he peeled off was to back against the side of that other boat. Here's the kitchen. Warming up something. I think Humphrey Bogart would be completely enthralled by this situation. Is that second boat getting ready to move? I mean, it's moving. Looks like it may be getting ready to leave too. Yep. I don't think we're anywhere near full. You see there's other boats here. The government has a boat that's just called the slow boat. It's a 2-day overnighter, obviously, for $10 instead of this one, which was the outrageous price, of course, of $32. It's pretty sprightly for a big boat, seems to me. Look at it, very, very few people on it. Find out later whether we stop at different ports and pick up more people. I think that boat has more crew than passengers. Our engines have just started throbbing, so my guess is we're cranking up, ready to roll. There's the engine room down here, there's our map. Okay, we're finally leaving at about 6:30. The sky is just starting to turn light ahead of us. We may be about to pass one of the boats that took off earlier. I'm not sure. It's a very large river. Shallow it can be. You can see it's not very deep. Like the Mississippi. color and how hard it is for it to break through the haze. And here in the background, you'll see a very huge bridge, just literally over the top of this hill, if it will focus on it, and it may not. Don't know what this is, unless it's a dredge. Maybe it's for clams or something.
Something, and I have something nice, something beautiful.
Yeah. All over again. Like this is the disembarking or shipping point for part of the logging industry. People live on these homes. The outrigging just gives it stability. Even out here are monks begging. Apparently that color of the red is a Vietnamese color. It's like some kind of a fishing rig that you just leave in place. Maybe it has nets attached to it. I wonder how high this river gets in the wet season. Encamped alongside the river, but for what purpose, I don't know. That may be simply a place to live for the collection. So it looks like he's fishing with a net. Simple little dwelling for his family. These simple flags might be just channel markers. community raft being towed to another location. Roughly from that direction, trying to find the Gold Pounder Street on 36th Street, and I kind of was paralleling this swamp or slough or whatever it would be called here. It might even be called a canal, but I doubt it. If it is, it was a long time ago. But this kind of illustrates what I see in Mandalay so far is just this complete mix of awesome contrasts. It's as though you're living on a dump site in combination with a construction site where you've got new homes like this one here. Some of them look quite nicely done on the outside and must be outstanding on the inside. And then you have regular old homes here in the traditional style. And then down there you see the pile of rubble. That pile of rubble goes off for I don't know what kind of a distance, because that was the street I was supposed to be following. It's all filled in with rubble. Down this road they're preparing probably to pave this road. You can see a roller down there, but the gentleman says that I'm better off to go to my left and around. Continuing to travel from that direction, I'm traveling along this, I'll call it a creek or a canal, and a little intersection just to illustrate what this area looks like. I took it because it was a quiet little, almost rural, well, very rural set of pathways that the people use. Here I am in a local market. It's raining just a little bit. There you can see a very pretty house over there. We're going to cross over this bridge just for the fun of it and go probably down that road there. Here we're at a wood furniture making area. I'm not sure that they make the furniture here as much as they put detail on it. I'm just going to show you some of what goes on here. A lot of hand sanding, I'm not sure who does the carving on this like this, but then these men are going to put the finishing on it, as you can see. The background, you can see it looks like a large dresser and one's about 2/3 the size furniture, but you see these beautiful homes from the outside, and this is probably what they're filled in with. Across the corner, this is typical throughout the world, probably in the United States also. Want to buy furniture or see where it's made, you go to one spot where most of it's done, probably because all the resources end up getting concentrated there and it's more efficient for everybody. Slightly further down the block, trimming out rough lumber, probably it's going to go right down to the next shop and to the next shop where they'll ultimately end up assembling individual pieces of furniture. Here's a sign that says laminate floors. That may be a direct result of some of the other work that's done. And here again you've got the rough cut. But much of the work done by hand or with just a hand router. What's like the fellow looks like he's using corrugated metal for roofs. This is classic Asia. They'll have a couple of dumpsters or not, but it's a central spot for throwing trash, so everybody does for who knows how long, months, years. And then finally something happens and the Department of Sanitation comes and in one fell swoop cleans it all up and goes on for another year. But the wealthy live in nice clean homes. Let me put this away.
3 kilos.
Wow. Wow. That's so what we're looking at here is a timer. You may be able to see there's some water coming in there through a little hole. So they put this there, and when it fills up, that's 3 minutes. So a different kind of 3-minute timer. Who'd have thunk? And this man assembles the leather package that they ultimately end up pounding. Notice the very specific rhythm of his body and the way it moves. How his elbows come up to his waist. Then the hammer goes up in the air and then comes back down. This is the rolling machine.
I did the first day.
And you just keep putting it through until it gets thinner. This will go through there 20 times.
Yeah.
And he keeps tightening it up right there.
Yeah, the press.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit tighter. I'll be done. Huh. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just like it's nothing. No.
Oh yeah. So now after rolling that up, he's going to put it in the fire. Apparently, I'm not sure if that turns it into an ingot or not. It just makes it really soft. Look at that, so thin that he can, just the air from his hand makes it move. And here the ladies are packaging this. See the little packets that she has right there oftentimes will be sold at religious sites, stupa sites, so that you can then take a piece of gold and put it on the stupa as a form of memento. Very much like the Christians will burn a candle, for example. These are cakes that have thin gold on them, and actually people eat them here on the theory that it helps the heart. I think that's probably a stretch, but certainly it's helping the heart in some other way if a man gives it to a woman, or even vice versa. We see the use of gold in art, particularly the old art. That's how they make it. Man is fashioning, I think, the packets of leather and bamboo paper. Apparently a train is coming down on this antiquated British system, and to stop the trains they roll, to stop the people from going across the track, and that lady controls it all. Here comes a train. Damn. Get these things out of the way so this anxious crowd can get going. We have just entered this Mahamuni image temple complex. Hawkers of everything. Because there's a bathroom down here. God only knows what it'll be like. Here's the entrance I just came in, but over here is where I'm directed to the bathroom. Toilets for 300 chat is for tourists over there, and for us regular folk it's 100 chat, and then he gives me a pair of sandals to wear in there. So in here we go to us regular folks' place. And here we are, nothing novel about it, nothing terrible about it. And to keep things clean, we take a bowl full of water and flip it down in here, and we've done our job and our duty. Before we entered the temple complex, I just wanted to video down through this hallway. I came in probably about halfway down on the left. It's just like a regular city market, except that it's designed more for tourists and has that kind of thing in it. Okay, so now we're going to enter into the complex. I am properly feed to use my camera. This looks like gold leaf. I don't know if it is or not. I touch it, I can't feel an edge, but at 3 microns maybe I couldn't. Interesting how this has the look of some Catholic churches with this kind of an arch. Just a medieval arch, Roman arch perhaps it's called, I don't know. And yet there's also the semblance of these multiple columns like you'd find in some large mosque. Here's the spectacular Buddha. So much gold has been applied, apparently, that it has cracked the foundation for the statue, and authorities are scientifically investigating the weight of that gold to determine a solution. And people are gaining merit by putting pieces of gold leaf on there. The typical design that we've seen throughout Bagan, and that is the first inner courtyard, is probably actually where those men are surrounding the Buddha itself. And then the second one here, and then the third one that we're standing at here, and still then a third one, perhaps fourth one over here. And people find merit perhaps by leaving these joss sticks or things similar to it. People try to find quiet places here where they don't have tourists jumbling around them. This is interesting. It's closed circuit TV showing you the actual Buddha, as well as the people who are putting merit on by putting gold on. It's interesting to imagine that some of the temples we saw in Bagan were embellished in this way. Here are the faithful facing full-on Buddha. Again, if you don't get close enough, there's closed circuit TV to help you. One of the tenets of Buddhism that a Buddha does not presume to teach others the way or what they're supposed to do in life. The precepts of Buddha are laid out for anyone to read and follow as they choose to or not. If you choose to join the order of the Buddha, that's a whole different matter. And I just had a little English lesson with a couple couple of the small girls in this group. These girls here, not sure why they're collected here, but and they're absolutely typically gorgeous outfits. Obviously, this is an important site, as we can tell from how well cared for and maintained everything is. And there's no charge except for tourist camera fee. Look at the interesting headdress or hat that they're wearing. Having makeup put on. I don't think this is necessarily for photographs, although he may get photographed. But the young girls, like 8 and 9, are so well cosmeticized that they're prurient in Western. Probably gold leaf rather than paint. This is some kind of totem. I'm sure it tells a story, and probably the one of Rama or one of Rama's stories. These may be some priceless artifacts associated with this complex. Beautiful vases. I'm guessing they're made in China. I think most of them were, but I could be wrong. They may be silver reproductions of famous pagodas, recognized to those of this faith as would be the great cathedrals of Europe to ours. This reminds me of Takal. The lower part of the columns are pretty and add a beautiful contrast to the gold upper portions. These are men's outfits. Some more buildings. They're just outside the main building. It's still part of the complex. Gothic looking, isn't it? I'm not sure what this white building is. For all I know, it may be the long hallway where the shops are. Certainly a utilitarian administrative looking building. This looks like an older shop area. Craftsman. This looks like an old instrument. Bong, 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 bong. Ah, yes it is. Some kind of old xylophone. Isn't that interesting? Here they make various kinds of gongs, probably for communities and temples that are being restored. And again, these are the devices that you see on top of stupas in temples. And these might be quite important. This might be a great business to be involved in if Myanmar continues, as it will, its rapid upward restoration. Whatever this building is, it's an older building. How old, I don't know, but there's something suspiciously antique about these paintings or murals on the ceiling. They're in excellent shape, and they don't look very new. The size of these doors, I don't know if they're wood or not, we can tell in a moment. Yes, they are. Probably original. They've been one of the original entryways into this temple complex. Here a man perhaps adjusting that one or selling it to somebody. So these gentlemen make, so what this man is doing is tuning these by how he shapes them or what little dings he puts in them. He gets a certain sound. Now he's going to hammer it a little bit more. And for him, the sound will change. Has to be an original entrance or area for the temple or pagoda when it was first developed. These are really the best I've seen, and there are no tourists here. I'm not seeing any non-Asians. Here's another, don't know what we would call it, a cross chamber, if you will, in this entryway, what I think was to the original entryway into the temple area, but beautiful. Frescoes, if they're in fact, or paintings if they're in fact original. And even if they're not original, if they're very, very old and reflect the colors and the style, then it's the Rosetta Stone, if you will, to everything we've seen that purports to show the original. Everything I saw in Pagoda only hinted at this kind of color, as well as the detail that we're seeing here. The massive doors, frame, clearly it was designed to seal this off for security. The old wooden threshold. I have an attack dog here ready to attack before I leave this access point, and I have no idea where I need to go to find my shoes. I am in a very old portion of this area with decrepit pagodas. These impressive portal guardians. Now this looks impressive. And it may well have been the original entryway. Just kind of would like to find my bicycle and my shoes. Mother's eating and she left for just a moment. And the little dogs thought it was their turn, so they moved up and she decided, nope, I'm not done yet. And she gives them a little occasional warning, okay, now you may be able to take a munch or two. Nope. Back now in the temple area, so I should be able to just wander around till I find that main entrance and then I can exit. Back in the gauntlet again. I don't know if this is a Jade Market or not. This was where some fellows helped me direct me down that street to here. Bazillion motorcycles, and this complex looks like it's something big, so we'll go explore it anyway. Parked my trusty steed here next to this palm tree. It has absolutely nothing to do with my ability to find it. I would say that this is a Jade Market, and these are the lapidarists. Like my mom and dad did stuff. Two guys pump this rig by hand. Inner tube keeps the water from flying all over their faces. So here's what they've been working on. Forming that outline of an oval, if you can see it. Yeah. The whole line is men working on individual stones. Heat this with a lighter. You heat that, make the stone stay on the stick. So he's got the stone stuck to that stick, and then he works it by eye to get the shape that he wants. And again, the guy's just pedaling the bejesus out of this thing. Look how slowly he turns his foot, how slow that wheel's going, but how fast the wheel goes up here. And they've got an incredible gear ratio over there somehow. Yeah, right in there. Makes it go fast. Okay. So what he's explaining to me is that on this wheel there are 3 different grits depending upon which diameter. And then he goes to number 4 up here with an even finer grit. And then this man here polishes whatever stone's being worked on. Another way this mechanism functions. Polishes it using this emery cloth, I think, so you get a really nice, brilliant look. Yeah. He's doing some further kind of polishing on that bamboo. I think that's got to be a really fine polish, and then he'll stop periodically and take a look at it. And apparently there's enough texture on the surface of that bamboo that he moves it, and then it tells him he can make it smoother. The rough jade, or at least scraps of it, then you could come along here, choose the piece you wanted, take it to one of these brokers there's probably here, I don't know which it would be, and he will assign it to his people. You'll end up with whatever it is you want. Even smaller pieces that you can work with. Maybe there are people who do this stuff at home, and this is where they get their resource. And you can start off with probably what's left over from where they're doing machine cutting somewhere, and you can use the scraps to make designs or whatever that you want. Have to pay 1,000 chot, but I don't know if I care that much. Larger chunks, I don't know if these have been rejected because of this. Looks like it's been set up to cut and then not cut. A lot of jade comes out of this country. A lot of it's shipped out of this country too. I wonder what they use the rings for. Some with polished faces, you wonder what they might be used for. There's the game of shells again. Probably looking for imperfections. Guessing that this may be just a very elegant and new monastery. With the guidance of a local man on his motorcycle, I am now at Shwe in Mekong. In early, and not ancient, but early well, now converted to a pump capability. Although you can probably still use the old way. So this is a beautiful teak monastery established in 1895. Here are those massive cement stair entryways, and then a wooden building, just like we saw in Pagoda, in a much less imposing manner. There's another well. Probably there was a time when these were used to wash your feet, or which wouldn't be a bad idea. Doesn't look tasty. Another reason for visiting all these temples is now remembering those two old ones that we saw in Pagoda off the main drag. In some cases only the pedestals left of such a building. Here we see how it actually is structured. Somewhat mosque-like, ironically. And with these two big cement entryways, here I'm guessing they actually match in elevation. I'm guessing this is one of the most monumental of this kind of style, because here we see more stairs, and my guess is that on all four quadrants there is a pair. Here we're at the top of the stairs, and first off you can see the elevations do essentially match. Some pretty door carvings, must have been really pretty when they were new. I wonder if they look like they've almost been oiled. I wonder if that could be a way of preserving them. Here it looks like some restoration ongoing. Yep. Looks like a family, looks like some people praying. Notice how they create the facade. Here, a piece taken down for restoration with 2 flying horses. I don't think in their culture they call them Pegasus, but we would. The entrance to the stairway. Notice these are nagas, or snake-like characters. Surprised some wealthy person from Europe or Asia hasn't stolen these, because being flat and 2-dimensional, they're perfect for wall hangings. I think here 2 restorers are discussing a restoration of it. Looks like an elephant and a bird character. I think the wood columns are very beautiful. In Thailand, here's our USA grandfather clock. This picture looks like it must come from the colonial era. Shape. Whether it's a restoration or brand new carving or not, I don't know. I guess these are Buddhas sitting on top of a lotus flower. This carving looks like it serves the function of a doorway. And this wall, interesting because it has 3 such doors on the exterior. End of the building, double arch entries to that chamber. A very pretty building indeed, all the way around. It's a series of doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should take a lot of work to restore this building and maintain it. It would. Hopefully they can do so. Never seen one of these pointers in actual operation. A pretty motif. Simple. Notice on the sides of the stairs is a symbolized naga also. He stopped. It's a staring contest. He wins. I'm leaving.